Hey everyone, Julian here, and today I'm going to be making a dark Future Garage track from scratch. So I've got a bunch of requests for this one, and I'm going to be giving away the project file and samples and MIDI that I come up with in this video for free in the description, so make sure to check that out. If you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because you'll be able to download it without a download gate. And yeah, before I dive in, I want to let you guys know I actually just dropped a new mix, part of my weekly Essentials series. This week's mix was on Future Garage. So I figured this video will go with it really well. So you can check that out in the description as well. Make sure to go. Let me know what you think of the mix. And yeah, let's get started. So I have this little thing prepared here. These chords, they sound like this. And kind of like a dark Future Garage style vibe. And I'm going to take these and turn them into something. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get analog. And we're just going to turn the filter frequency down a little bit. I'm going to give it a bit of resonance. And we're going to turn off the envelope. And let's go to the amplitude envelope here and turn that up a little bit as well. Turn up the decay and the sustain. I'm going to give it a little bit of vibrato. Cool, that sounds pretty good. So let's detune these two saw waves a little bit. Excellent. So then the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a bit of chorus to give it some dimension. Something like that. And then let's give it a bit of echo. I'm going to turn off the sync here. We'll just have it be on the milliseconds. And then let's give it some reverb as well. So I'm trying to make sort of like a dark, like ambient kind of pad here and make it so, you can still hear the chords. Like it's not just completely reverbed out, but it's a little bit more like obscured and it's a little bit less just like straightforward chord progression. So then the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to grab a vinyl distortion. Usually to give my tracks a little bit of vinyl crackle, I will have like a vinyl sample in the background. But actually, if you do it this way, where you turn up this crackle volume and the density a little bit and use this vinyl distortion, you get a little bit of a more organic thing. And you can do this a few different ways. You can just put it on one of your tracks like I've done here. I'm also going to use a little bit of the vinyl distortion. You could also just put it on like its own track and just have that be like your vinyl crackle. But yeah, I like doing it this way. It's a little bit more organic. If you use a sample, what can happen a lot of times is there'll be like a certain crackle or a certain like pop or something like that you hear, and it keeps repeating because it's a loop. And then what happens is every time you hear that crackle at the same time, you kind of realize like it's not just like vinyl noise. It's a sample being played underneath it. And I don't know. To me, sometimes that can kind of take me out of the track and feel a little bit strange. So doing it this way, yeah, again, it's just a little bit more organic. So we'll turn that volume up a little bit. And then, like I said, I'm also going to use the tracing model here a little bit. You can hear it just kind of makes it a bit darker. Cool. So then the next thing that we're going to do here is I'm actually going to grab some drums. So I have a few drum samples prepared. You can hear those, and I'm just going to take them and put them in here, and we'll put the kick and the rim shot on their own track, and then I'm going to make a drum rack here. And what we'll do is I'm going to put the hi-hats in this first drum rack, and then we're actually going to make another drum rack after that, and we will put the percussion in there. So I have these percussion samples and the hi-hats, and yeah, those of you guys who watch my videos a lot know that I don't really like using drum racks for just like the whole drum sounds in your track. But when you have something like this, like you want to have all your hi-hats grouped together and all your percussion grouped together, it can kind of be a good way to do it. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put in the kick first. We'll just make like a... Cool, that sounds good. We'll put the rim shot in here as well. What I'm gonna do, I kind of like pitching drums around for this style. Like I had these at a certain pitch that I thought was cool, but it's also kind of fun to just play around with the pitching. Like that's what I like so much about making Future Garage is that it's just so like free. Like it's less sort of like rigid than a lot of other genres, I feel like. Let's do this. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, so now let's go in here and add these hi-hats a little bit. I'm going to take, we'll take this one and we'll put it on all of these upbeats here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the other one as sort of like an extra like swing hi-hat. So we'll have like this pattern always playing. And then we'll have this other hi-hat here, kind of doing little stuff like that. And I'm just going to go through and like play a few different things and just see what works. There's really, again, like really not a lot of method to the madness here. You kind of just play around with things and see what works and, yeah, hope for kind of like happy accidents. So that's what I'm going to do here. You can also turn down the velocities of some of them. It helps to give it more like vibe and more of like an organic feel. And I can even do like something like this, like have, yeah, like something like that. Okay, cool. So that's good for the hi-hats. I like usually making my patterns about like 2 bars. Sometimes you can do 4. In this case, I'm going to do 2 because I'm interested in saving time here. But yeah, so I'm going to go and make this percussion thing now. So we're just going to make another little loop, and let's just take these different percussion hits and see what I can come up with. Cool. And I like this technique where you kind of do like the 8th note one right before the little jumpy 16th note one. Like if I just had this note here, I feel like it doesn't have as much vibe as when you add that little 8th note there. You know, it kind of makes it more fluid and more organic sounding. It sounds like it's like it's sort of, yeah, like I said, like more organic percussion where it isn't just like samples that you're hearing being triggered, but you're hearing sort of more just, like I said, like a more organic drum sound. Anyway, let's keep going here. I'm just going to fill out the second half as well. I like to do the second half kind of similarly, but with some variation, just to make it more interesting, you know. Cool, so I'm going to go and grab this percussion sound, this one, and I'm actually going to put a bandpass filter on it, because it's a little bit too, like, sharp. Like, when you hear it in that beat there, it just doesn't really fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bandpass here. Let's get the frequency like that. And we'll turn the resonance up a bit, and now you can hear it has, like, that dark kind of burial style percussion sound. So this is a really good technique. If you have like a rim shot or any sound like that that just doesn't really have that dark vibe, try putting a bandpass with a high resonance on it. Alright, that sounds good. Let's slow this down a little bit. We're at like 138. Let's do maybe 134. That's good. And I'm going to group these drums together. We'll come back and do a little bit of processing to those as a group in a moment. The next thing that I'm going to come up with here or add to this is I'm going to make a bass. So this should be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to take these chords and get rid of the top notes. And we have our bass line down there. Let's make this a longer loop, and I'll duplicate these over. And we can change the name of this to drum group as well. Cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab operator, and we're going to actually change the FM algorithm to this. So it's not doing any FM. They're just playing in unison here. Not like unison, like multiple, like the whole thing with unison and a synth. But unison in the sense that these two oscillators are just playing at the same time. And they're not doing any FM. So I'm going to change these both to saw waves, and we are going to detune the second one a little bit. That's pretty solid. And then the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this filter. We will turn down the frequency. There we go. And also turn the resonance up a bit to make it kind of juicy. Let's grab a bit of saturation as well. I'll turn up the drive. Make it a little crunchy. That sounds pretty good. Oh, I gotta pitch these down. Alright, not bad. So I'm going to do a bit of processing to the drum group. I'm going to put a drum bus on here. I'm also going to grab Ableton's Multiband Dynamics. I'm going to get the OTT preset. I really like using OTT on future garage drums because it's a really good way to get that kind of like crunchy texture. Like you can hear, that sounds really cool. And then the key here is just to not use too much. So I'll turn the amount down usually. So you can hear without it versus with it, definitely a quite nice difference there. Like it kind of beefs the drums a bit. And we can also turn on drum bus. Let's put that after the OTT. We can even add a little bit of boom. Let's see what key we're in here. Okay, so this is A sharp. Cool. So let's put this to A sharp. You can see the little thing down there will let you know what tuning it is in. Alright, I think that's good. There we go. So that's a nice way to kind of like beef the drums up a bit. Nice. So then the last thing I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab an acapella. I have some Aaliyah acapellas here actually. Aaliyah, if you don't know, is used a ton in these kind of tracks. Some of those acapellas she has, like Rock the Boat, just have some really, really good moments. So let's grab something out of here. Take like that. We'll just grab that and put it in a random place. And then let's grab that one as well. Cool. So what we can do is we can take these and we can just start playing around with them. I'm going to try to get them in key here. There we go. Sometimes these can be a bit wonky. So I'm going to leave this one at the timing that it's at with being pitched down. This is a cool thing is when you pitch these up and down, they also change the timing. And since these are going to be kind of reverbed out, the whole like timing of them doesn't matter a whole lot. So I kind of like, you know, just playing around with the different pitches and seeing what happens. So let's take this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a warp marker there. And then we're going to grab this one and drag it out because I want it to be all like stretched. And then we'll put this up to +10. So that's just still at the same note, the same pitch, but it's just an octave up. Nice. So we get that kind of weird like vocal effect there. Let's give it a little fade. Cool. So then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a bit of reverb, and I might do some echo as well. Let's put some reverb on these. Nice. And then let's also get a bandpass filter. So this is another good technique for the vocals. Is to just put like a bandpass like that on them. And you get some really, really cool vibes. So I think that's going to be it for this one. I put together this beat from the ground up and showed you how to do it. So like I said, you can get the project file and samples from this video for free in the description. So make sure to go check that out. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there. Once again, you can check out my mix for this week. It goes along with this video great because it's a future garage mix. For garage mix, I cannot talk today, guys. And yeah, so that is it for today, guys. Like I said, all that stuff is in the description. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Thank you again, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.